I've been collecting physical media for over 10 years now, and I've spent countless dollars, and we're going to guess how many dollars I've spent on over 600 titles. Yes, there's 600 titles that you can see behind me, over here in a big pile, over there in a big pile, behind me over here, on top, everywhere. Physical media surrounds me. Blu-rays, 4Ks, DVDs, all of it is all around me in my life at all times, just like yours. And we're the same as collectors. We have so much stuff. But here's exactly what I've learned after spending a fortune on over 600 Blu-rays throughout my entire life. To start off, we'll kick it off with why I've invested in a collection like this. And I put invested in quotations here because this isn't an investment like it's some sort of banking thing that I'm putting money into and then I'm going to draw out at some point. This is my collection of my movies that I love. I love just coming out here at random and just staring at my shelves and just staring at releases and pulling them off and looking at them and going to go watch them and doing all of that with it. It's a feeling that is so hard to describe to people who aren't collectors. It's something that people question and they come out here and they go, "Hunter, why do you have all this crap?" And I go, well, you just don't get it. And that's a big reason why I've invested so much of my time and so much of my money into this hobby of collecting physical media. And I started off 10-ish years ago, just sort of aimlessly, sort of wandering. I had, 50 movies here or there or whatever, just stuff that I've either, I saw. I had Rambo 4 before I had a lot of other movies in my collection. Yes, I owned Rambo 4 for a long time on Blu-ray. It was sitting in my PS3 for a long time, and my collection looked like that. And I learned from then on, like, that portion of your time collecting is freeing almost, where you're just like, whatever, who cares? I have stuff, I don't have stuff, I don't need this, I have that. Who cares? You just have what you have. And as you go on in your journey as a collector, and as you float through this feeling that you have of collecting, you focus in on what you really want, because everybody goes through this kind of feeling when they're starting off collecting. When you get that windfall of disposable income or whatever, you're spending money for collecting physical media, you go wild. I did. For me, that starts in 2020. 2020, the pandemic hits. I'm sad. I have to stay inside all day. I can't go out to see my friends. I can't see my family. So what do I surround myself with? Well, I build up a wall of physical media. And by a wall of physical media, you can go back and check some of my first YouTube videos. There was no wall of physical media like it was here. It was one shelf, a red shelf that was not designed to hold Blu-rays and 4Ks. It's designed as basically an end table that I flipped up vertically to make into a shelf. But now I have these shelves that surround me, and that is the final sort of form of my collection. Are shelves like this that really look nice and can display your collection the way that you want it to. I don't have these lights on that are, all the time, but these lights do make it look pretty nice if you can get some lighting for your collection as well. That brings me to the problem. There is a problem with collecting this much physical media. There is a problem in this digital age that we live in of streaming, where there are people out there that will tell you, you are an idiot for collecting physical media. Why do you have so many movies when you can just stream them? You can go on Plex and you can make a server. I get comments like that every single day on YouTube. Every day somebody comes on and they watch a video about how much I love physical media and they go, well, excuse me, you could just have a Plex server that has hundreds of thousands of movies on it. Well, I kind of have that. I have that for video games. I have a hard drive that has thousands, hundreds of thousands of games, and it does not feel the same. It doesn't feel the same as physically holding something. I could have a Plex server, I could go on Netflix, Peacock, Max, anything, and I can have plenty of movies at my disposal. Not all of them. There are some movies, especially some in the Vinegar Syndrome catalog, that you can't get anywhere else. So there's that issue, the problems that arise. Streaming, digital, the space. It is a spacious hobby after all. You do need to have a lot of space to hold 600 plus 4Ks, Blu-rays, DVDs, VHS tapes, all of that. I have my own little space here for it. It's probably not going to extend past this. Maybe I'll get 2 more bookcases and I'll just wall myself in completely. But that would be funny, wouldn't it? You have a door that you have to get into to get to your bookcases. But those costs, on top of the actual costs of doubling up, the amount of releases that come out. There are so many physical media releases that come out. And what I've learned throughout this time is that you don't need them all. You don't. The companies out there, they're wonderful. They do great work. Arrow Video, Vinegar Syndrome, Scream Factory, studio releases, Synapse Films, Terror Vision, whoever else that you love that makes physical media. At the end of the day, they are a company, and at the end of the day, they are selling you a product, and at the end of the day, they want you to buy it. What you can realize as a consumer, what you can realize as a collector, is that you don't need to. You don't need every release just because it's numbered, just because whatever. If you love the hobby of physical media collecting, you get what you love, and you don't get what you don't love. And if something, you miss out on something, like, say, the Ghostbusters box set here, that when it came out, it went straight out of print, and Sony has never reprinted this thing. That is a big example of fear of missing out in the collector market. Well, if you love it that much, it's worth it to buy it for you if you judge that it's worth it to buy it for you. And that's a case-by-case situation where, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there was that $300 edition that came with a chainsaw. Super cool. I didn't buy it myself because I already have a nice 4K of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I have no space for a big plastic chainsaw in my collection. Would I love to have one? Yes. Do I need it? No. And so that is one of the solutions to the problems that you learn as you go through this hobby. You learn who you are as a collector, and you learn the things that you love, you learn the things that you don't love, and you really take it to heart. And so those problems, they pile up, yes, but there are solutions to those problems. And one of those solutions that I learned a long time ago is I went through my collection, and you can do this along with me. So go ahead, pause the video if you need to, run to your bookshelves, and do this. Grab your 5 favorite physical media releases out of your collection. Grab them. Just go ahead, take them off the shelf, give them a look at the back, honor the thing that you're holding in your hands, and grab them and come back. And you look at those 5 favorite physical media releases. And this isn't a video, but the whole point of the video. But here are my 5 favorites that I grabbed off my shelf, just taking a look before this video. And some of these are sentimental to me. Some of these are just really great releases, but we're not going to go deep into it here. But we've got the original, the first Blu-ray box set of Star Wars, the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, the Fright Night 4K from Sony, the Halloween 3 4K from Scream Factory, the Roadhouse 4K from Vinegar Syndrome in their Ultra packaging, and of course, the Thing Blu-ray from Arrow Video. What do these 5 releases have in common? What do they have in common for me? Because this is what you're doing in your collection. What you can learn is you can learn just what releases you love and what you don't. If there was a release of Roadhouse, say that's your favorite movie, it's one of mine, and it came out and it was a deluxe edition, you would get that. If you don't love another movie like Night of the Demons, I just saw it on the shelf over there, so I'm going to use it as an example. If you don't love Night of the Demons, and there's a super deluxe special edition that comes out of it, you don't need it. That's the whole point of collecting, is you can cultivate this collection that has thousands and thousands and thousands of titles. There are plenty of people out there that have bigger collections than me. Way bigger collections than me. But guess what? Their collection is theirs. It's not mine. It's not my curated collection that I have here. It is their collection. And as you go through these 5 favorites, look at it and reflect. And it'll help you along in your collecting journey to reflect on what your collection means to you at points in your life. And with these 5 releases, those 5 releases matter to me because I love Star Wars. It was one of my favorite movies growing up. When they announced that they were putting them out on Blu-ray, it was an immediate purchase for me. And Star Wars on 4K, I have them on 4K as well, but I've kept that box set because it's sentimental to me. That leads to some unexpected surprises that I've learned throughout my time collecting 4Ks, Blu-rays, physical media, is that I've learned about these physical media boutique labels. The boutique labels are your friend. They are a company trying to sell you stuff. Yes, we've gone through that. But they are your friends because guess what? They all working for those companies, whether it's Scream Factory, Arrow Video, Vinegar Syndrome, Synapse, whatever else, TerrorVision, they love physical media just as much as you and I. And they want physical media to succeed. They want it to be you to be happy buying their product. They want you to love their product. And that's a beautiful surprise that I learned, is that it's not all just faceless, nameless, gray sort of studios doing this where they're just crapping out releases and throwing them in your face and saying, here, this is what you get. No. Especially Vinegar Syndrome, which is my favorite boutique label out there. They're putting love and crafting a release that you will be proud of to display on your shelf. That they'll be proud of, that you're displaying on your shelf. And that is a beautiful thing. And that leads me to the most important thing that I've learned about physical media after collecting over 600 Blu-rays in 10 years, spending thousands of dollars on them, is I've learned about this community. And I've learned about this audience that I've gained here on YouTube and on social media and everywhere else. Is that there are people out there, yes, there are the dum-dums that comment, oh, why don't you have 100,000 movies on a Plex server? But there are so many other people out there that love physical media, that are just like you and I, that have collections, that love when something new comes out, that loves when their favorite movie comes out on 4K or Blu-ray or whatever. There are so many people out there that have rekindled a passion that I had. I remember when I was talking about me when I had 50 movies on my shelf or less. I had Rambo 4 on Blu-ray. That was a time when it was just all love about collecting. And I went through this wave and I came down and I crashed. I crashed super hard on collecting and I thought, wow, I've spent probably upwards of $5,000, $6,000 on this behind me. So much money has been spent on collecting in my life, whether that's video games or Blu-rays or whatever else, magic cards. And I've learned about myself is that I am a collector. I like collecting things. You know, you've gotten into a bit of the hoarding as well, but I've tried to tamp down that as well. And so that's something that we all can work on as collectors. But I've learned and rekindled a love for film, a love for the visual medium of movies and television that we have together. And that is the beautiful thing about collecting physical media. And the number one thing that I've learned in my time collecting, it's about what you want out of the hobby. It's about what you want out of all this stuff that you have on your shelves that you can display, that you can film, you can take pictures of it, you can show your friends. That is the most important thing about collecting to me, and what you should learn about collecting physical media is that it's all about the experience. It's all about the path getting to the point where you have this beautiful, beautiful film collection behind you, and you can be proud of it, and you can walk out and you can just say, wow, I love this hobby. I love collecting action movies, comedy movies, horror movies, whatever you collect. Be proud of it, love it, and enjoy it, and let other people enjoy it as well. So what have we learned? What have we learned here? We've learned that physical media is a passion and that it rides in waves. It goes in peaks and valleys and peaks and valleys. And if you're a real true blue collector, you'll go through all of them and you'll learn something about yourself from your physical media collecting. And that, my friends, is beautiful. So what are your 5 favorite physical media releases that you pulled out off your shelf? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear it. I'd love to see what people out there love from their collections. Or just, why do you collect? Why do you collect? Do you collect to have a bunch of movies? Do you collect because it's physical media preservation? What or whatnot? Let me know. I would love to hear it. And if you really truly want to learn some more about physical media collecting, check out this playlist right here. I've got all of my videos, all of my tips that I've garnered throughout the years right here in one place.